Hi there, and welcome to our webinar today from Exclaimer. I'm Jenny, I'm our SVP of Marketing here, and today I'm going to talk you through why we believe that most martech stacks don't deliver the results that you expect. So here's our roadmap for the next 30 minutes. First, we're going to identify what I mean by the martech trap and why it's so easy to fall into. Then we'll examine the illusion of more tools and why tech alone falls short. Next, we'll shift on to the fundamentals of brand, customer, and product insights. After that, we'll look into how to be customer informed and the path forward. And then we'll finish with some key takeaways and hopefully a couple of questions at the end. So what do I mean by the martech trap? Is a tempting belief that just adding one more tool to the martech stack will solve all of our problems, leads will pour in, and that engagement will skyrocket. We start chasing the shiny new software, convinced that more tech must equal those better results we're looking for. And with so many to choose from, it's no wonder it feels like a full-time job for the marketing leader, just trying to stay on top of what tools we should be using. As some really do support that growth and make us more effective as a team. We're so busy off adding tools, we often forget the fundamentals, that sound strategy, real customer understanding, and a clear product value proposition. The trap leaves us with huge tech stacks, but underwhelming results. I've seen marketing teams with dozens upon dozens of apps, but no cohesive story or strategy. I once met a CMO proudly listed over 100 marketing tools that they use, but admitted that they struggle to articulate their customers' core needs, a classic martech trap. This talk is about recognizing those pitfalls and avoiding them. So, what we're seeing is that mid-market companies use on average 255 different tools to run their business. Many of those are marketing technologies, according to Chief Martech's 2024 report. That's 255. I don't know about you, but that number just makes me feel anxious. Imagine the inefficiencies, the overlap. We often have multiple tools doing similar jobs or tools that don't play nicely together. Every additional tool introduces operational burden. You need to trade your team how to use it, integrate it with other systems, maintain updates, and so on. Instead of us making us faster, too many tools can slow us down. Data ends up siloed in different apps, so we never get that unified view of customers and data that we really need. The overload means marketers spend more time managing tools than engaging with customers. It's the paradox of martech. The more tools we add, the more complexity that we create. So let's look at the reality. We have tools. In fact, we have too many tools, as we're starting to realize. The CMO survey found that actually 56% of leaders admit they've invested in martech without even fully utilizing their current solutions. That's close to half. Think about your own organization's marketing stack. How many features or entire platforms are gathering dust? It's common to get excited about a new platform implemented and then only use a fraction of its operational capabilities, or forget to turn off an old one that it was meant to replace. We're essentially stockpiling technologies without maximizing it. The underutilization is a big warning sign. It tells us the issue isn't old tools we're meant to replace, but actually the lack of tools or the lack of strategy to drive those tools. So you might be thinking, okay, lots of tools, but that's just modern marketing. That's just how it is today. The problem is we're not delivering the results we expect from that technology. 2024 CMO survey again showed that 54.9% of CMOs have been disappointed with the payoff from the marketing investments. And they cite the primary culprit as poor alignment with customer needs and product positioning. In other words, the tools are there, but the strategy wasn't. If your marketing technology isn't tightly connected to your customers' actual needs or how your product truly solves the problems, you won't get ROI. It's like buying a fancy drill, but using the wrong size bit. It just doesn't work properly. No amount of software can rescue a campaign that's off target or messaging that just doesn't resonate. So when ROI falls short, it's a sign that technology was not the issue, your approach was. Okay, so if martech isn't the answer, what is? The answer is going back to the fundamentals. It might sound old school, but it's powerful when you know your brand, that clear identity and value proposition. Know your market, including your business model. Know your customer, those deep insights into needs and journey. Know your product deeply, how it truly solves the problems your customers have. And understand the channels. Where are your customers and what's the most effective way to reach them? There are things no software can do for you. martech should come after these insights are in place. Then the tools can amplify and execute on a great strategy. Think of technology as a megaphone. You're saying the right things, it makes your voice louder. If you're not, it just amplifies noise. And in the next slides, we'll dive deeper into all of these fundamentals. So let's start with really knowing your brand. This is about having the right insights to truly understand your brand. Ask who you are as a company. What do we stand for? What's our mission? And importantly, what is your unique value proposition to the market? You'll need a crystal clear answer to why your brand matters and how you differentiate from the rest. As we know, marketers don't deeply understand our own brand DNA. No technology will do this for you. A marketing automation tool can't tell you what your brand's voice should be or what story will resonate. That has to come from introspection, research, and strategy. For example, if your brand stands for ease of use and simplicity, every campaign and tool you deploy should reinforce that. But you only know what to do when you're clear on your brand promise. This kind of self-awareness guides you into choosing the right tactics and tech. It ensures that whatever martech you use is aligned to expressing your authentic story. Data backs this up. 95% say that brand marketing can help a company differentiate itself from the competitors. Those with strong brands show a 74% return on brand investment. So before adding tools, double down on your understanding and articulation of your brand. So next, know your market. This market awareness, where the customers are aware of the problem or unaware of the problem. Therefore, then you have to understand your category or solution awareness that you need to put in place if they are not problem and solution aware. The value proposition, what unique value do you add? How strong is this? Are you critical or nice to have? Clarity on the market and your fits. You also need to understand your unit economics. How does your business model work? What's your average deal value size? What's your CAC? And what does this mean for the spend that you will have within your marketing strategies? Again, let's look at the data that backs this up. 61% of businesses say competitive intelligence has made a direct impact on revenue. 42% of startups failed because they build a product with no market lead. So next, we're going to look at knowing your customer. This means invest in understanding their needs, their pains, and their motivation, and the journey they take from problem to solution. This arguably is the most important insight we can have. It's not enough to have demographic data. We need to understand their motivations, their pain points, and what success looks like. This comes from investing customer research, talk to your customers, survey them, analyze their behavior and feedback, map out the customer journey from their perspective. Where do they struggle? How do they care about each stage? Many people fall into the trap of mapping the customer journey out that they want the customers to take, and this can lead to drop-offs along the customer journey. Again, let's look at the data. Customer-obsessed organizations reported 41% faster growth, 49% faster profit growth, and 51% better customer retention than those at non-customer obsessed organizations. The point is clear. When your marketing is truly customer informed, guided by what your buyers actually need and value, you see far better results. So before you think about what new tech to buy, ask, do you really understand your customers? If not, that's where to focus your effort. So let's now look at knowing your product. and by extension, your value proposition inside and out. This is about being product-led in your growth strategy. It's not just for your product managers or your product marketing managers. As marketers, we should be experts in what we offer. How exactly does your product or service solve the customer's problem? What features do customers love the most and why? Where does your product outperform on the alternatives? When market truly internalizes this, the messaging becomes much more powerful and authentic. Even if you're not a user of your product, it's really important that you understand it deeply and have used it and continue to use it as it develops. The data backs this up again. 85% of sales leaders said they believe the solution selling will be a core skills capability requiring strong product knowledge and solution design, as well as account planning skills. 50% of CMOs and product marketing leaders cite poor collaboration with revenue teams as a major barrier to customer expansion. The logic is simple. If you really grasp your product's value, you can communicate it clearly and set the right expectations, leading to happier, sticking customers and more sales. However, if marketers and salespeople are fuzzy on the product, all the marketing tech in the world won't craft the right message. So break down silos between product and go-to-market teams. Sit in on product demos, use the product yourself, and talk to engineers or designers. Ensure your value proposition is more than a buzzword. It should be the truth every marketer on your team can confidently convey. Okay, so what about the channel? One of the biggest mistakes that we have as marketers is assuming we need to be everywhere. But success comes from being where your audience is. Use these insights like behavioral data, CRM insights, and marketing research to uncover exactly where your customers are actually spending their time. The data again backs this up. 72% of B2B companies that sell via 7 or more channels grew their market share. B2B customers use an average of 10 interaction channels during their buying journey, up from 5 in 2016. 48% of companies use direct email or more than half of all external communications, more than any other channel. This is a channel where strategic and high-risk communications take place. Focus your efforts on the channels that consistently deliver the best results, where engagement is high, where your message lands with impact. Markets move, buyers' habits shift, and new platforms emerge. What worked 6 months ago might be flatlining today. Build a process of continuous testing, trial new formats, adjust budgets, and gather feedback. Here's a critical insight. Technology cannot replace understanding your customer despite all the data and analytics at our fingertips. Only 6% of B2B organizations can be classified as advanced insight-driven businesses, according to Forrester in 2023. That means the majority of us are making decisions without a complete picture of what our customers truly care about. Now, we might try and compensate with fancy tools, say an advanced personalization engine or AI-driven results. But if our underlying customer insight is weak, those tools won't magically know the customer either. In fact, Forrester found in 2023 that companies using advanced personalization tools without deep customer insight expertise, 20% lower campaign effectiveness is experienced by those companies. The personalization tech is basically shooting in the dark. This drives home a key point. If we don't understand our buyers on a human level, no martech gadget can bridge that gap for us. We need genuine customer insights first. Technology comes second. We're now going to move on to looking at how we can then take technology along the funnel. We all know this. We all know the funnel that we operate with, from awareness and acquisition into interest, consideration, and finally a decision. Okay, it's now time to look at how we bring the technology in along the funnel. So firstly, let's look at awareness and acquisition. So some of the tooling that you can use at this point is looking at customer segmentation for targeting. So there's tooling such as 6 Sense, Sales Navigator from LinkedIn, or Zoom Info can really help you in how to target the customers that will be the best fit for your product. Another example is channel like SEO at this stage, where you can bring in tools like SEMrush and Screaming Frog to really help you understand how to drive that channel further. Now let's move into the interest stage. At this point, we can bring in tooling such as Salesforce and HubSpot to really help us understand the stages that our customers are at and the interest that they're showing, and then how best that we can start to nurture them through the journey. At the next stage, they're starting to go from being interested to keen to purchase. They're starting to move into that consideration phase. At this point, they're most likely on your website trying to find the information that they need. So this is where you can really help your customers navigate this with some experimentation in showing them different pages that we believe will be more personalized for them, such as Mutiny and Optimizely will help with this experimentation to really make sure you're trying to get that messaging that really helps them through this stage. We can also use web analytics and heat mapping technologies to also understand how they're navigating your website and your contents and what is helping them the most. Finally, they've got to that stage where they're looking to purchase. They've got that to the decision-making phase. So this is where sales effectiveness tooling can really support this. The marketing insights and sales automation, such as Gong. Marketing could add in the insights they want captured, and then they can be summarized back to the marketing team easily. This allows these insights to come back through to the top of the funnel. They can also help to automate sales processes so that they connect with the messaging in the funnel at all times. Sales enablement tools such as Seismic and HighSpot ensures the fundamentals remain in place deeper in the funnel beyond marketing. So let's bring this to life with a current campaign that we're running with financial services. We realized that we were seeing great success in financial services for what we do, identifying a real pain point. Email signatures are often overlooked, yet in financial services, they are critical for compliance and brand trust. That insight drove our creative. We didn't start with tooling, we started with the story that we were going to tell. So let's look at the campaign example at the awareness and acquisition stage. From there, we used 6sense ZoomInfo Sales Navigator to build a target account list based on firmographic and intent signals. We reached those accounts with LinkedIn and display ads that spoke directly to the compliance blind spot. At this point, once they were engaged, we tracked behavior through 6sense and CRM data to identify which accounts were actively showing buyer intent. And here's the shift. Instead of waiting for form fills, although we still encourage them, we give sales the context they needed to prioritize and act on those accounts straight away. At this stage, outreach began with messaging tailored to the fintech journey. While marketing continued retargeting, we used tools like Mutiny to adapt the web experience based on this engagement, meaning that they were getting a truly personalized journey. And finally, at the decision stage, we weren't selling, we were validating at this stage. With fintech case studies, peer quotes from G2, and data to prove time to value, all fine-tuned through Gong insights from real conversations. This campaign isn't about martech for martech's sake. It's about starting with insight and then using the right tools to scale what we already know works. So finally, let's move on and just recap on martech's role. So martech's role is an enabler, not a silver bullet. More tools do not equal more success. Now I want to be clear, I'm not anti-martech. Technology in marketing is incredibly powerful when used right. The key is understanding what martech's role is to be an enabler, not a silver bullet. No tool can substitute for knowing your product, your customer, your value proposition. If all those elements are solid, tech will boost your efficiency and scale. But if those elements are weak or undefined, tech will simply amplify the weakness. So use martech to amplify a strong strategy, not to paper over a weak one. This means being intentional about the tools that you choose. Align each tool to a specific goal or insight. It's better to have a lean, focused tech stack that's well utilized than a bloated one. Consider doing a tech stack audit. Which platforms genuinely help you understand and engage customers, which are adding value or which are adding noise? You might find you can trim down and actually perform better. Ultimately, it comes down to customers and strategy first, then platforms. Get the right team mindset and knowledge in place. Then let technology scale that success, not the other way around. If you audit, create your strategy, and build your funnel, you will reduce the apps from 255 to a number you need it to be. You will have 100% utilize your tooling, 100% confidence in the ROI of your tooling. It's not just a one-off martech management is crucial for your accountability as a marketing leader. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I hope this was thought-provoking and gives you confidence to double down on insight-led marketing. I'd love to hear your thoughts or questions. We have a few minutes for a Q&A. Ask me anything, whether it's about battling the martech trap, customer understanding, or even examples from my experience at Exclaimer. And if you'd like to continue the conversation afterwards, please feel free to reach out to me. Let's discuss how we can make our marketing more about customers and the product and less about chasing the next tool. Thank you so much. Okay, we've got our first question coming in, which is about AI and the use of AI within your martech stack. This is an interesting one because we know that that's the future. We know we all need to be adopting AI, and it almost feels like we're going back into which ones and how quickly we need to adopt these. And probably rushing into decisions and actually creating an AI martech trap. What I would say is, again, look at your funnel. Look at the advances that you can take along the funnel. One of the things that we're doing at Exclaimer is we're doing a quarterly review of looking at AI in each of the teams. What we are using it for at the minute, sharing those learnings across the rest of the team, right across the go-to-market team. And then looking at what more we should be doing, what more should we be doing in each of the teams to create this AI martech stack that we need. By doing this on a quarterly basis, you're constantly keeping up with progress, and you're also helping to train and develop the team. Not everyone can use AI or has the technical skill set to be able to do this. So it's about making sure that you're bringing everyone in your team on that journey. The next question is, where are we on our martech journey? I wouldn't say that we're perfect yet. We've still got a lot to do. We have a 23-year-old company, so we've got some legacy tools that we need to look at and make sure that they're aligned. We're doing a major audit at the minute and just making sure that we have the right tooling and swapping some of our bigger tooling out, such as our email CRM, and looking at how this needs to be set up for the future and not just with what tooling we have now and what works with that. So this is not an easy journey, but I personally take a lot of responsibility and work very closely with our marketing operations team to make sure that we're doing a full audit of the tooling that we have, all of the features that they now have, because that will change over time, and how all of these tools actually play together, because that's one of our biggest challenges at the moment, is actually how the tools interact with each other. Some can then actually start to hinder us more than add value in our journey. Again, thank you so much for joining and some great questions at the end.